Welcome to this short video on backbending, short class on backbending. This is actually one of my personal favorite practices, but it is still a very profound practice. For me, it is always a practice of vulnerability and courage. As Brene Brown, doctor I admire a lot, always says that through vulnerability we see courage. So with that, exposing the whole front of our body, opening up so much, is showing ourselves even more to the world, which is always a vulnerable situation, or can always be a very vulnerable situation. So this practice, I want us to find the courage and work with that vulnerability to see the courage of what good can come out through showing our true selves to the world. With that, we're going to get started in Virasana Hero's Pose. I have a block to lift my sits bones off the ground a little. I've been running, which I never do, so my legs are especially tight. If not, you can come onto your sits bones, bringing your heels outside of your hips. You shouldn't feel a huge tension on your knees. If you do, try to find a pillow or something to prop yourself up. And from here, we're going to close our eyes just briefly, connecting our breath with an awareness on our spine, in our spine. So as we take inhales, I want you to visualize that inhale almost as if it lubricated every vertebrae of the spine, creating space between each vertebrae, lifting the crown of the head a little higher. Keeping the neutral curvature of the spine, continue taking these inhales and exhales through the nose. On the next exhale, blinking your eyes open, we're going to interlace our fingers, pushing the palms of the hands forward as we round our back, tucking the chin in. On the inhale, push your hands up towards the ceiling, lifting the heart, maybe looking up towards your hands, and release down. Just like that, two more. Inhale, push the palms of the hands away from you as you round your back. On the next inhale, push your hands up as you lift the heart. Hold here, pressing the palms up, and release down. Last one. Rounding the back, tucking the tailbone in, and pushing your arms up, your hands up, lifting the heart, broadening the shoulders, and release down. Bring your hands in front of your heart just briefly, honoring yourself, giving yourself gratitude for showing up to this practice, and for showing up your full self to this practice, your true self. Staying vulnerable to find the courage to do great things. And release the hands down, taking off the block if you had it. Coming onto all fours, hands under the shoulders, knees hip width apart, and press your hips back into this wide child's pose. From here, keeping the legs hip width apart, we're going to walk the hands forward, coming into a puppy pose. Feel free to do it as deep as you want, keeping your hips over the knees, or maybe walking it a little further out, making it a little less deep in the shoulders and chest. And slowly walk your hands back, coming into a child's pose. Active child's pose, so the forearms are lifting, hands are pressing against the mat. Forearms almost as if they want it, armpits almost as if they wanted to close. And place your toes onto the mat without changing the upper body. Come into your first down dog. Feet hip width apart. Take a second or so to kind of fidget and wiggle as you please. And we'll all meet in a still and steady down dog. Separating your feet a little wider than hip width. Walking your hands back towards your feet as the weight comes towards your feet. Bending the knees, grabbing opposite elbow. Letting the torso hang heavy. And maybe playing around with lengthening your legs a little more if it feels right. As the sides of the neck, the head completely relax and weigh down towards the mat. Releasing the hands one vertebra at a time, lifting all the way up to standing. Bringing that attention to the spine. And rolling your shoulders back, chin parallel to the mat, walking towards the front of the mat. We're going to come through one Surya Namaskar A to warm up the body. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hinge forward, reaching for the mat with both hands. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, step or hop back into your plank or chaturanga. Lowering halfway, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. 5 full rounds of breath here. And on the next exhale, bend your knees, look forward, step or hop towards the front of the mat. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, finding a mini back bend. Exhale, fold forward, and come all the way up with a strong, long back, hands in front of the heart. We're going to continue meeting in down dog. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hinge forward. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. On the exhale, step or float back through your vinyasa. From down dog, shift forward back into plank. We're all going to place our knees down onto the mat, keeping our elbows tucked in, lowering our chest between our hands. Opening our chest, sliding through baby cobra. Hold here. Maybe lengthening the arms a little deeper, rolling the shoulders back. And release down. Bringing your arms into plank pose. So opening your arms in a T. Pressing the feet against the mat. Inhale, lift the heart up, lift the chest. Rolling the shoulders back. Crown of the head lengthens. And release down. Bringing the right hand next to the chest, opening the left shoulder, placing the right foot behind the left leg. Releasing any tension in that front part of the chest, shoulder, making sure the neck is relaxed as the side of the head is on the mat. And coming back through center, opening the right arm, bringing the left arm next to the chest, pushing the right shoulder to open. Little to no effort in this pose, just opening that shoulder, feeling almost as if you're reconstructing the tendency of your chest and upper back. And releasing that tension, opening the chest. And come back through center. This time bringing both arms, bending both arms, bring the hands behind the head. We're going to inhale, and this time we're going to lift everything up. Legs, chest, elbows, push it back. Breathe. And release down. Interlacing your hands behind you, lengthening the arms before you lift. Rolling the shoulders back. Lift everything up. Crown of the head lengthens up towards the ceiling. Imagine you have a block between your thighs so they can't separate more than hip width. And release down. Placing your hands next to your chest, pushing yourself back into child's pose. Just briefly. Kind of neutralize all that opening you did. And we'll meet in down dog, placing the hands onto the mat and shifting and lifting the hips up. Bringing the right knee between your hands. Before we lift, in this runner's lunge, find the length through the crown of the head. Lifting the heart and coming all the way up, crescent lunge. Bending both legs just slightly so you find a neutral pelvis. And bending both arms, coming into a cactus pose. Lifting the heart, rolling the shoulders back, opening the chest. Inhale. And lower down, placing both hands back onto the mat. Step back into plank pose. From plank pose, lower onto your forearms. Forearm plank. We're going to walk our feet in, coming into dolphin pose as the heart pushes back, bending the knees as much as you need to really take the heart back towards the legs, opening the shoulders. And walk your feet back into forearm plank, coming back onto your hands, plank pose, shift the hips up, downward facing dog. Other side, bringing the left foot between your hands as smoothly as possible. Finding length through the crown of the head before you lift. Heart lifts forward and come all the way up, crescent lunge. Both hips are facing forward and bend the elbows, crescent lunge. Cactus arms. Lifting the heart, elbows slightly pulling back to broaden the chest and lower back down. Step back, plank pose. Lower onto your forearms, forearm plank. Walking your feet in, coming into dolphin as you shift the hips up, bending the knees, pulsing the chest back to really open the chest and the shoulders. Making sure you're not sinking into your shoulders. The upper back is strong. And walk your feet back, forearm plank. Pushing yourself back up, plank pose. Downward facing dog. Inhale. On the exhale, bend your knees, look forward, step or hop towards the front of the mat. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, forward fold. And with this mini back bend, come all the way up with a strong back. Hands towards the ceiling and in front of the heart. Inhale, Utkatasana chair pose. Lowering the hips, bending the knees, bringing the hands in front of the heart. We're going to twist over towards the right, placing the left elbow outside of the right thigh, making sure both knees remain in the same level. Keep the hips low, passing the weight towards the right foot. We're going to lift the left heel, slowly lift the foot and lengthen the leg back with control. Keeping the twist, crown of the head lengthens. Right hip pulls back. Inhale. And come into crescent lunge. Arms long up towards the ceiling. Either arms remain here or onto the hips. On the inhale, lengthen the front leg. On the exhale, bend once again, crescent lunge. 2 more just like that. Follow your breath. Last one, we'll meet with both legs long, bringing the back foot a little closer so you can place both feet onto the ground. Almost as if you were giving a really long step. Option 1, make fists with your hands and press the fists against each other. Option 2, reverse prayer. Pressing the palms of the hands against each other, feeling the edge of the hand, the crest of the hand, lengthen through the heart, lifting the heart, and fold forward. Feeling that the shoulders broadening, the heart opening. And in the same way you came down, lift all the way back up. Keeping the hands or releasing them if it's too much. We're going to press onto the right foot, lifting the back foot, coming into warrior 3. Keeping both hips facing down, maybe bending the standing leg just slightly to find a little more stability. Flying leg is long, elbows are pressing back, and both feet meet in the front of the mat, releasing the hands. Shake it out. Once again, taking the weight towards the right foot, bending the left leg, grabbing the foot with both hands behind you. We're going to press the foot against the hand as we open the chest, lowering, coming into this funky warrior 3. Both hips are facing down. Maybe the standing leg is a little bent. Shoulders are rolling back. And slowly from where you came from, lift all the way up, releasing the leg. Other side. Utkatasana, chair pose. Lowering the hips, bringing the hands in front of the heart. Twisting over towards the left, pressing the right elbow outside of the left thigh. Twisting open to the left. Pressing onto the left foot as we begin to shift the weight, lifting the right foot with control. And lengthening the right leg back. Keeping the twist, finding length through the crown of the head. Shoulders broadening. And come all the way up, crescent lunge. On the inhale, lengthen both legs. Either hands are long or on the hips. On the exhale, crescent lunge. 2 more. And we'll meet with both legs long. Maybe bringing the back foot a little closer so both feet can land on the mat. Whatever version you did on one side, you'll take on this side. Opening the chest, lifting the heart, folding forward. And inhale with a long spine, come all the way back up. Shifting the weight towards the left foot, trying to keep the hands. If it feels like too much, release the hands. Shifting the weight towards the left foot, warrior 3 with reverse prayer hands. Back foot is facing down, elbows are shifting back. And both feet meet in the front of the mat, releasing the arms. Shake it out. Once again, shifting the weight towards the left foot, bringing the right heel towards the butt, towards the right glute. As you push the foot away from your hand, lower the torso, coming into this funky warrior 3. Shoulders are rolling back. Play with the balance, it's okay. And release down, both feet in the front of the mat. Arms up towards the ceiling, coming onto your tiptoes. We're going to bend our knees, coming all the way down to seated. a squat slowly with control. Once you reach into the squat, you can place your sits bones coming into Navasana. Either grabbing behind the knees for support or arms along the legs, finding a long spine. Making sure we're not on our tailbone, but we're on our sits bones. Hold for 3 more breaths. And on the next exhale, lower the hands behind you, feet hip width apart, reverse tabletop. Either fingertips facing out to the side or forward. Lifting the hips up towards the ceiling, looking up. Taking deep breaths. And release down. Coming all the way onto your back. Bringing both knees into your chest, massaging the low back. Placing both feet onto the mat, hip width apart, making sure the heels come as close under our knees as possible. And we're going to take 2 back bends. I am going to do 1 bridge, 1 wheel. If it's too much, feel free to do 2 bridges or whatever you please. Be mindful of your back and how you've warmed up. The low back and the spine is a vulnerable area in itself. So not only are we opening up, we're also working with poses that work with vulnerability. So as Brene Brown says, vulnerability doesn't mean that we don't set limits. So be aware of where you're going, and from here we're going to start by placing your arms next to your torso, pushing your hips up, interlacing your hands under your hips, shoving the shoulders under the chest, pushing the heart towards the roof of the mouth, and the hips up towards the ceiling. 3 more breaths. Remember your limits, your boundaries that you want to set for yourself. That doesn't mean you're not showing up and staying vulnerable. And slowly release down. Now I'm going to take full wheel. Feel free to do whatever version. For full wheel, we'll start with both hands next to our ears. Elbows are tucked in, so they're in chaturanga. They're not splurging out. And we're going to push our hips up, placing the crown of the head onto the mat. From here, pushing the hands against the mat, lengthening the arms completely to straight. As we lift the heart and try to take it back, taking our shoulders over our wrists. 2 more breaths here. And slowly, as you came up, coming down, chaturanga, arms lowering onto the back of the head, bringing both knees into the chest, massaging the low back from side to side, releasing any tension that you can carry through your back, and opening your arms in a T, letting the knees fall over towards the right, looking over the left shoulder. Just release everything through the twist. as we begin to relax completely, remember the true meaning of vulnerability. It is showing up as who we truly are. And when we do so, we're capable of great things. Vulnerability is not easy, but when we open up, when we present ourselves to the world as who we truly are, open, transparent, that is when great things happen. With that, I encourage you to take as long of a shavasana as you want. I hope you will have a wonderful day. I'll leave you here. Namaste.